Hey everyone, so I have this box, actually 2 boxes of potatoes that a family friend gave us, and as you can see they're beginning to really grow, and because I don't want to just waste them, or actually I could probably grow them too, but because I don't want to do that right now, instead of course I want to cook them. And so today I am going to be making 3 meals, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, using potatoes as the main dish. So for breakfast it will be hash browns, lunch will be baked potato soup, and then finally I will be doing a 1-pan roasted potatoes with chicken and green peas. So that is the plan for today, and I'll be kind of walking you through me prepping them, me actually cooking the food, and then me eating it and showing it off what it looks like at the end. And yes, this will be kind of fun seeing the glory of potatoes, what we can do with potatoes on a very basic level, and maybe we'll get some inspiration about what I'm doing to inspire you with some potato recipes that you would like to do in the future. But yeah, that is the video for today. Okay, so a little transparency. It's actually nighttime right now. It's actually today is the day before we're beginning this beautiful saga, and I'm mostly just gonna prep the hash browns, get them all ready to go, so we can just heat them up quickly in the morning. I'm mostly doing this because we're doing a very early morning run, me and my mom. So we just kind of have a nice breakfast beforehand, and we can go digest for a little bit before we actually start running. So more or less, right now we have potatoes. They are a little bit spudsy right now. I'll have to wash them, skin them. But yeah, we have our first batch of potatoes ready to go. Usually when I do this, when I'm not filming, I put on a nice podcast or book. I really love audiobooks. Used to read a lot when I was younger, and then my eyesight's kind of gotten worse, and I read a lot when I'm working all day long. More or less decided for myself that it's better for me to listen to books instead of reading them, just to keep my eyesight from really hurting. Having some strain on the eyes isn't really that great. So yeah, I've been listening to a lot of books doing that, and then also podcasts. Big soccer fan, so listen to my the athletic podcasts about soccer, or football as the Europeans call it, and also a couple of the athletic football podcasts do if I when the season's going and when the things are interesting. Sadly, I don't really have technically a NFL football team. I think if I would have to pick one, my family is from originally Michigan, so we always try to support the Detroit Lions, and that's been kind of rough the past couple of years. It's been gotten better actually now, but of course it was pretty rough when I was little. And then also my mom grew up in Indiana. My grandparents still live in Indiana, so we also support the Colts, and that has sadly not been as fun also lately. So yeah, there's usually been a lot of heartbreak during the postseason for my family, but it's still fun to watch, of course. And then on the soccer side, I'm from St. Louis. I live in St. Louis, so I've been really trying to get into supporting and watching more of the St. Louis City's games, because it's a kind of local team and kind of fun to root for a team that you can travel around the city and see the billboards, and if you go on 64 you can see their actual stadium, and I'm hoping one day I'll be actually able to watch the game live. And they're just a little bit pricey tickets, and they're also kind of super late, and I'm more or less 100 years old at this point. I definitely need to go to bed early and all that, especially for work. So I haven't really been able to really watch their games live that much, but I try to listen to the podcast about how they're doing, follow them on on socials, and keep an eye on what they're doing. So yeah, but more or less do all of that while I do this instead. But because I'm just yapping to you guys. But I'm realizing that I will not be able to yap the whole time while doing this, so I might just get some jump cups of me being I began the skinning of potatoes, and then 1 second later I'm done now. And now we shred, so I will not make you endure me yapping around this one. But yeah, I think I'm just gonna shred these up, listen to my podcasts, and this should take a couple of minutes, but so far so good. And here we go. We have them all shredded now. So I'm going to put these in now in a colander and try to wash as much of the starch out as I can while the pan starts heating up. I've also decided that I'm going to have some of bacon with the hash browns. I just feel like that's very nice and good. Fried eggs, bacon, hash browns. very, very traditional, something that I used to love when I was little, and of course I still love now. But yeah, and also I'm actually using Camaillo's bacon anyway for the lunch meal we're gonna do. So this is gonna be kind of fun to also use a little bit of the bacon for breakfast too. I'm also thinking that I can use the grease from the bacon to fry up the hash browns. So we're doing pretty good so far. I have flipped over the bacon twice now to get this side all cooked, and now we're just cooking this side. Okay, so I think the bacon's done. Of course, we'll cook it up a little more in the morning, so I don't want to cook it all the way right now. So I'm just going to kind of get as much of that grease off as possible without starting a fire, and then I'm going to put them on a paper towel over here. And here are our hash browns. I have, dried them off pretty well, so I feel good about that. I'm just going to season with a lot of salt and a lot of pepper. I'm a big fan of both salt and pepper, so we're really going to go ham wild on this. I always feel like I always under-season my stuff just because I always feel like, people's preference for seasoning is so different. People who are actually professional cooks, they are pretty good at seasoning in terms of, getting it to a good place where everybody feels happy. But for me personally, I just kind of come to a realization where, I'll season a little bit and I'll make it so it doesn't, taste, completely dry. But at the end of the day, because, seasoning is such a, subjective thing, I kind of like keep it a little bit basic and then let, people who are eating my food kind of season their own food and be okay with that. That's kind of where I've gotten to at, this point of my life. That being said, of course, these are going to be, eaten by me and my mom, and I definitely know that we both really like salt and pepper. So that's why I kind of went ham wild on that. But I feel pretty good about how much I used. It's gonna be really horrible if I eat this and I say, oh my gosh, this is too much seasoning, but hasn't happened to me, so far, and I'm hoping it won't happen to me now. Please don't fall, please don't. Oh my gosh, this is more than I thought it was. Oh crap. Well, I feel like the potatoes are doing well. I'm a little nervous that they're steaming more than they're frying, but I think, this is just the first part cook, and then when I get them, in smaller batches with more oil, it should be good. But they smell really good, and they definitely are cooking. I've been kind of like messing with some of the bigger pieces, and they're, going away pretty quick, like this piece right here. It's being pierced pretty easily. So I think these are mostly, cooked, and I will do the final, really fry up tomorrow morning. So right before I put these in the refrigerator, I just wanted to show you what I did to them. So I got them all out on a pan, and I made them in kind of like oblong pucks, so they'll be easy to toss onto the griddle tomorrow. Good morning. It is the first video of our potato video officially now. Ready to go. We have the bacon, pre-cooked, and I'm going to just heat it up a little bit. And then we're only going to have actually one puck each just because they're pretty large and we don't want to eat too much food before the run. And then an egg each for us because eggs are a little bit, scarce right now. But yeah, I'm very excited. Okay, so I'm thinking I want this one. So we'll just put it down like that. This one, we'll just put it down like that. And the other, right here. Bam! Ta-da! And breakfast is served. I have it right here. We have our fried egg, our bacon, and our hash browns. I'm a big fan of cutting the yolk and getting the yolk able to, get into the entire egg white. Let's try out some of the hash browns. Perfectly cooked and a little crispy too. Perfect. Nice and crispy. Okay, so I am on to lunch. We are doing a baked potato soup. I am right now skinning around I think 2.5 pounds of Yukon potatoes. And of course, I also have all the other ingredients. So the diced onions, the minced-ish garlics, the vegetable stock, and then like a pint of half and half salt and pepper, some flour, some butter, some sour cream, or I'm using Dahi Greek yogurt or Dahi Indian yogurt because it's really, really good. And it kind of has the consistency of sour cream, so I just use that instead. And then also 8 slices of bacon. So, actually not 8, sorry. 6 slices of bacon. So yeah, I'm feeling pretty good. I kind of decided to just like, mostly do the prep, off camera just because it's easier, and also I am used to doing prep off camera, so it's just easier for me just to get it done. I'm listening to Lord of the Rings, so that's really fun. Love Fellowship of the Ring. I always feel like I'm always a big fan of like kind of like comfort books, books that, they're not like there's not a lot of tension, there's not a lot of like drama and all that, just to kind of like get in the mood while I'm like cooking food. So I always feel like the first half of Fellowship of the Ring, like when we're still in Hobbiton, it just feels very comforting and nice, and it's really great for cooking. We're almost done with the first box of potatoes, so that feels really good. I probably won't get both of them cooked today, but I'm feeling pretty happy about how well I've gotten through these potatoes. I'm gonna have a lot of good leftovers to put in the freezer for the next few weeks' food, which will be really, really nice. And as a whole, it's been really fun. And yeah, it's just a kind of a fun experiment to see, because I feel like for me personally, potatoes are my favorite kind of food. I feel like they're so versatile. So many cultures have made different things with potatoes. I just feel like potato is such a versatile thing. You can bake it or boil it or roast it or fry it or even eat it raw sometimes. And it's just so versatile. And of course, I'm not even close to getting to what you can do with potatoes. I'm kind of just doing like the basics. You could really go all out and do different dishes around the world potatoes, and that's really fun. Feeling good so far. Had a really, really good run today. I did feel like I did eat a little bit too much before I ran. My mom only had like half of what I had, so she had like 1 egg, 1 thing of bacon, half of her hash browns, and she said that she felt really, really good on her run. So, and I felt a little bit bogged down on mine, so I feel like next time if I did this, I would probably eat less. But I'm still really happy that I was able to eat what I got, because it did still, fuel me throughout the run, which was really nice. Today's gonna be just a day of cooking, but it's for the video. It's also fun. I like cooking. I feel like, a lot of people, they're either like, they just don't like cooking, it's too much time for them, or they're just not used to it. I feel like cooking for me is very much like knitting or doing other kind of crafts. It's like everybody sees like the big fancy products, like the Gordon Ramsays or like, the Top Chef, or like, these like professional cooks on like YouTube where they have all the fancy appliances. They really kind of go all out. And so people see, the products that are like the most intimidating, and they get intimidated and they're like, oh, I can't do that, and that kind of like, that versus the fact that cooking does take a little bit of time, it just kind of like kills a lot of people's motivation for cooking. And so for me personally, what I really like to think about, and this is kind of like how I learned how to cook, was just like little things, at a time, like I remember like my mom teaching me how to fry an egg, and then taught me how to like cook a chicken, and then, cook a chicken breast, and then, how to make pasta, and like just slowly like just building on those things naturally. I think if you can like build on like simple things to like build up your confidence, build up your love of cooking, and then you can like, go all out and like do like a fancy dish, or like a beef Wellington, or like something that will take you a lot of time. Like never start with like a big project and like without like any confidence or like any experience, in my opinion. Like try to build up, because then when you do the big thing, which of course always takes a lot of money and a lot of time, you have a higher chance of succeeding, and you won't be wasting all of that energy and all of that money on something that you just weren't prepared for, So yeah, that's kind of like my idea about cooking, and yeah, just comment below what you think. Again, this is a time for me to skin potatoes and yap, and for some reason, this one is not going very well. Maybe I'm just talking too much. It's like when I'm like just quiet, I can get, most potatoes done, but then when I start yapping, it takes me the same amount of time to skin as many, as many potatoes in like 3 times the time. So yeah, but ouch, oh, come on. But yeah, I have that mentality for a lot of things. So like for instance, like I just started doing running, and actually if you want to see that video, it should be coming out like this year, probably like in the wintertime, but literally like never started running before, like never did sports when I was little. Like it's my first time like being active consistently, you know, every week and all that. And so, I'm going really slow, right? Like I just ran 4 miles, which is like not a big deal for a lot of people, but it's a big deal for me. Of course, like when I say ran, I walked, but like beginning of me running, I had like a benchmark run, and I could barely, for like, they did a 10-minute benchmark run, and I could barely get like a half a mile in without like completely gassing out. Like I was in a stitch, like I was, like, couldn't breathe. Like, it was horrible. And like, but now, I'm like jogging and walking and, being active for like 4 miles. You know what I mean? So really, like, it takes time. You build your confidence, and I'm hoping that by the end of the year I'll be able to run a marathon, But I don't want to like just start saying, okay, I'm running a marathon like tomorrow, right? Cause I know I won't. Like, I would completely fall apart. So instead, I'm beginning by like training for like a 5K, and then training for a 10K, and then like a half marathon, and then like at the end of the year, then a marathon when my body's completely ready to go. I'm going from complete beginner to marathon, right? And so it's kind of that same idea, right? Is like I'm starting off the basics. I'm built my confidence. I'm building up my body's, stamina. And I think it's kind of the same thing with this. Like for cooking, like yes, you can make like super short, little, easy dishes, which I usually try to show on, this channel. But it still takes time, right? Like it will still take an hour of your day. It'll still take amount of time. And if you don't have the stamina for that, you're gonna gas out, and then you won't want to cook anymore, right? So again, building up your stamina, building up your tolerance for taking, time to cook, it's really important, Like I think like this video, like I started at what? Like at what time? Like 10:30 or something like that? And I'm already, it's already 11:30, I think. So, it's been, or maybe it's at 10:30, maybe 10:45, but more like, it's been more than half an hour of just prep. And so, again, if you're not used to that, you're not gonna like that, So, yeah, it's kind of like my little thought process there, my little soapbox, but gosh, come on. Okay, maybe I should just be quiet and just get this one done. Bam! We have officially, well, it's a little bit more than 40 ounces, but it's more or less 2.5 pounds. So, feeling good. Feeling happy, so I'm going to wash these off, and then let's start actually cooking. Let's add in our bacon. I just sliced it up in little pieces so it's easier to, cook down faster. Okay, I'm feeling pretty good about the bacon right now. I think it's mostly all the way cooked out, the fat. There's a couple of pieces that, need probably a little bit more cooking, but a lot of it's nice and crispy, so I'll be probably, removing it soon. The butter. It smells really good. And then the onion. I've cooked these for around 3 minutes or so. They are looking very good, so let's add in the garlic real quick. It smells so good right now with the butter and the garlic and the bacon, and of course the onions. Make sure everything's covered. Slowly adding in the half and half. Here's the vegetable stock. And then finally, last but certainly not least, the potatoes. And now I'm going to let this come to a boil, and I think it's going to boil for around 5 to 10 minutes until all potatoes are nice and tender and fully cooked. So it's been 10 minutes, and I'm feeling pretty good about potatoes cooking. I'm actually going to check one just right now. Just a minute. I'm going to find one. Okay, here it is. Yeah, it feels pretty good. It's pretty fork tender. So I'm going to bring it down to simmer now, and then I'm going to puree it. Now, I think you can do this 2 ways. You can use an immersion blender. You can literally like just mash it up like with a potato masher. I'm gonna use a puree because I got one for Christmas many years ago for my grandparents. But you know, it's up to you how you want to like mix this up. Some people just want to keep it like this, But I am gonna use a puree because I have that. But yeah, if you don't have it, it's totally okay. Again, we talk about kind of about like the whole like what's it called, like intimidation of cooking. No one, you don't have to have the fancy gadgets, and thankfully a lot of those gadgets actually now are pretty cheap. But if you do want them, they're available at a cheaper level. And if you don't even want them or you don't need them, you can usually use like a potato masher or like a fork or literally anything to mash up the potatoes, or you just can keep them whole because it's also okay. But I'm gonna use a puree. Let's see. Okay, now I do not remember how to use this. Okay. Let's get this in and let it begin. Pretty sure I just kind of, pureed the entire thing, so it's very smooth now. But again, that's how I like it. And if you do want to use this recipe, you can, of course, puree it less or more, depending on how you feel. But I feel pretty great about this. I'm going to let this simmer some more while I get the cheese ready. I actually cut my finger a little bit using the shredder yesterday. It's like right there, not a lot, but it's definitely nagging me a little bit. So today I'm going to be a little bit more careful because I really don't want to cut my finger again. It's not fun to grate your finger. I do want to add a little bit more pepper. I just feel like a little bit more pepper would be nice for this. So the last things are going to be adding the dahi, or of course sour cream. All together. I'm going to serve this up also with some bread that I made a few weeks ago with my Elvis Presley sandwich. So it should be really, really good. Last finishing touches, some cheese, and a little sprinkle of bacon on top. So I have the soup right here, and then also some of the bread that I made a few weeks ago. So very excited about that. Oh yeah. Nice and creamy, a really, really good taste. It's like nice and smoky, and like the garlic and the onions just brings a really, really good taste to it. And it's also like super, super, like not dense, but like it just feels like really, really hearty because of potatoes. So yeah, this is really good. Some salt though, always some salt, and some of the bread. Yep. Perfect. And just like that, it is afternoon, almost evening time. Disregard the outfit change. I cleaned the basement today, so I was dusty and dirty, so I had to change. Also, disregard the noise of the dishwasher. It's very loud, but it has to be done because I had a lot of dishes for the past couple of meals. But more or less, we are at our last meal, which hopefully will have the least amount of dishes. Right here we have some chicken, and it's been defrosting and marinating with the Dano seasoning. Then we have some peas that we're going to also be roasting up, and then finally our last thing of potatoes. I thought this would be kind of fun to use this cool small ones that have weird shapes. Sadly, that means I'll also have to skin all of these, and my finger's really been kind of giving me a little bit of trouble after I whacked it with the grater. But I'm feeling good. I'll probably just do this by myself without talking, because I just realized when I just start talking, I really slow down. I want to get this done, not in like 20 minutes. So I finished up skinning and also washing potatoes. I think for a little bit of ease in cooking, I am going to also have all of them. I also, got some garlic ready to go, because garlic tastes good with everything. This one definitely is going to be halved, and this one will be halved right there. This one right there. This one there. I think this one should be right here. I got into a weird shape, so I think right there should be a pretty good idea. And then just have it. This will be good. Let's try it out. Okay. And then finally, I'm going to just make these into medallions. I'm just going to season these really simply with salt, pepper, and olive oil. I'm realizing that most of this food has been salt, pepper, and olive oil, or, salt and pepper. But, why not? It's a good seasoning, does the work, and, I don't want to get too fancy, or else this already kind of long project is going to get just even more longer and more complicated. So, first things first, some salt. I should say pepper. My brain's going crazy. Then I'm gonna add in some of the salt, some of the olive oil. Oopsies. And then I'm just going to mix it all together. I probably should have gotten a bigger bowl, but it's too late now. I'm just gonna mess with it and, you know, keep on, carry on. Then I'm gonna put some parchment paper on top because it's just a little easier to deal with things, you know, it doesn't stick as much. I didn't use parchment paper forever when I was younger, and then, you know, very recently, I think like last year or so, I got this roll for, I think, it must have been like some baking video I did. Could not remember which one, but one of them last year, and I just realized like, hey, this is actually really, really good. And of course, you know, the thing, it takes forever to use up, so I have definitely been, you know, taking advantage of that. But yeah, that looks pretty good. I probably should have just cut these just real quick. Let's do the potato first. So I think I'm just gonna put them over here. Oh no, I just realized I always had this issue. I feel like every time I do these one pan meals, I'm always missing room for the vegetables. And I don't know, I think it's like either I'm making too large a serving or my pan is just way too small, even though it's pretty large. But yeah, I don't think that the peas are gonna fit. Over here, I'm gonna put down the chicken. One there. And then will this fit? Okay, just move this around, move that around, move that around. I think this looks good. So I'm waiting until my oven finishes preheating at 400 degrees Fahrenheit, and then I'll toss this in. You know, I think I'll do probably like 30 minutes, and then flip, and then 30 more minutes, and we should be good to go. How's Mr. Puppers? How's Mr. Puppers? Okay. Looking good. I think I'm going to get all of this excess drippings to make a little bit of a, you know, nice something to dip the food in. Now this chicken, it's looking pretty nice. I don't want it to go dry. Yeah, it's looking quite cooked. So I'm actually going to take off the chicken. I'll probably cook these, you know, in a little longer, like the last maybe couple minutes, but I want other things to cook more first. And then I want to flip all these potatoes. Yeah, because these have definitely not cooked all the way. I think I'm also going to toss in our peas right now too and let them start to cook down. I also, of course, have all this beautiful garlic, so I think I'm just gonna kind of nestle them in with the potatoes. So back in for another half an hour. So I did broil them and cook them a little longer, but these are looking amazing. I'm gonna take out the peas and the garlic, flip the potatoes, and then add the chicken down, and I want to broil those for a little bit, and then we should be good. But this is looking really good, and it smells amazing, so I'm very, very excited. I'm also very hungry. Get everything arranged, so now I'm going to broil these probably for around 5 more minutes. And they are done. These look really, really good. I am excited to plate them up and see how they taste. Ta-da! And we have come to the last meal of the day. So, first things first, I want to try out one of these potatoes. Nice and crispy. Perfectly seasoned. Chicken is perfectly cooked. Still juicy. Some of the drippings. Wow. Well, this is my final meal of the day, and also, of course, the ending of this video. So I hope you guys have enjoyed watching this video and seeing these meals. I hope you've been inspired by it, or at least entertained. And yeah, that's all for me for today. I have really, really enjoyed making all these videos and also cooking up most of all the potatoes. I feel really good about that too. But I hope you guys have an amazing day, and I'll see you guys next time.